Let's go straight to Ankara, where the Turkish Prime Minister Binali Yildirim is expected to formalize this announcement.
Has gotten underway. This text of consensus tomorrow will be signed with the Undersecretary of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and his correspondent in Israel. After this, there is the approval process. In Israel, the approval is issued by the cabinet, and on our side, it will be completed at the parliament, and subsequently, the embassies will become reactivated reciprocally, and we will be appointing the ambassadors. Okay, so how have we arrived where we are today? I will briefly inform you about this. Our nation is aware of the background, but of course, I should be reminding. May 31st, 2010, on that date, the Blue Marmara vessel bringing humanitarian aid has been attacked, and our diplomatic relations with Israel had been suspended by us. In March 2013, the Prime Minister of Israel, Mr. Netanyahu, called our now President, then Prime Minister, and expressed his regrets about this incident. He has apologized. And as such, it was the first step on the way to this consensus, to this agreement. However, Turkey's conditions were not limited to the apology. There were two more important conditions, one of which was especially to Palestine, to Gaza, the blockade applied should be lifted, and the humanitarian aid and the investments to the region would become possible. The other topic is in this Blue Marmara attack, our citizens had lost our lives, and we asked for compensations. And both of these topics have been included in this Memorandum of Understanding, this consensus. The relatives of our citizens who have lost their lives in this Blue Marmara attack are going to be compensated, and this figure is around $120 million. The reason that this consensus took so long to finalize, the real issue was the Palestinians living in Gaza. It is the challenges, the isolation that they're encountering in their daily lives. And Israel is preventing support from the outside world. So long negotiations have taken place in this regard. And finally, we have arrived at a decision. And to this end, our first vessel next Friday will be arriving at the Ashdod port of Israel. There will be humanitarian aid of more than 10,000 tons, so that as such, the blockade, the embargo to that region will be lifted under the leadership of Turkey. And this is not limited with this. With Gaza region leading the way, the need for electricity, water, in order to fulfill those needs, work will get underway as soon as possible. Also, in Gaza, there's a 200-bed Palestine-Turkey Friendship Hospital. It will be equipped and will be inaugurated as soon as possible. This is one of the issues in this consensus. Also, Turkey, the Housing Institute, will have projects in Gaza Erez industrial zone in Jenin region will be accelerating the construction there. This will now be possible within the framework of this consensus. I hope that this consensus will be beneficial for our country, for our Palestinian brothers. Our Palestinian brothers in Gaza have suffered enough and a lot, and as such, this will be a breath of fresh air for them, thanks to this consensus. As we have done until today, Turkey will be a defender of the just cause of Palestine, and on every platform will be defending the rights of the Palestinians, including their right to become a state. I would like that to be known. So with this consensus, relations with Israel have normalized, with Gaza region leading the way, with Blue Marmara, the total embargo applied on Palestine will have been lifted to a great extent. And on the other side, those who have lost their lives in Blue Marmara will be compensated for. And most importantly, Israel has apologized for this attack on Turkey on 2010. I hope this will be very beneficial. Do you have any questions? Furthermore, during those negotiations, our Minister of Foreign Affairs and the members of the ministry and other institutes have made lots of efforts, and I would like to thank them for that. Apart from that, of course, the biggest will that has been put forth in coming here, our President has never took a step back from this end. I'd like to thank him. I'd like to express my gratitude to him. Yes. Please introduce yourself. Kıvançhan Milliyet, 10,000 tons of aid you talked about. Which organization? Is it the Red Crescent or what? And when will the parliamentarian process get underway? Thank you very much. The assistance is under the coordination of AFAD. Of course, there are private, public, many institutions who have contributed, but the coordination will be done by AFAD, the parliamentarian process. The agreement will be signed tomorrow, then the cabinet will send it to the parliament, and the parliament will approve it right away. Yes.
Okay, let's come out of this press conference. That was the Prime Minister of Turkey, Binali Yildirim, speaking live there in Ankara, formally announcing a reconciliation deal with Israel, ending essentially a 6-year diplomatic standoff that started back in 2010 when Israeli naval commandos shot dead 9 Turkish activists who were traveling on an aid flotilla to Gaza. So that standoff, a 6-year diplomatic standoff, now coming to a conclusion. It was in a deal that was negotiated in Rome yesterday. Let's go live to Hasan Abdullah, TRT World's Hasan Abdullah, who's also been listening into that conference. He is live for us in Ankara. Hasan, you were listening into that press conference. There were 3 conditions that Turkey was keen that Israel meets. It seems 2 of them have definitely been met. The apology that they were keen to have from Israel, as well as this compensation for the families of the victims on that boat. Talk us through this, the middle one, the Palestinian blockade, that they were very keen, Turkey was very keen that Israel lift. Now that hasn't totally been lifted, has it?
Well, Malin, from Turkey's point of view, the blockade has actually been lifted because Turkish ships and flotillas that are going to be carrying further aid goods will be allowed to reach their intended recipients. As far as other international aid is concerned, we understand from sources here at the Prime Minister House that other countries that want to send aid would have to go through Turkey, as the understanding stands at the moment. So from Turkish point of view, that blockade has effectively been lifted. And in addition to that, Turkey is going to be engaging in various investment projects on the West Bank and the Gaza Strip. It's going to be carrying out reconstruction work, rebuilding the houses that have been damaged in Israeli attacks. It's going to be constructing a hospital. It's going to be building a desalination plant. And also it's going to be working on the economy in the Palestinian territories. It's going to be setting up this economic zone, a sort of a financial center in parts of the Gaza Strip. So it seems that Turkey has not only managed to get those conditions met, but it's sort of gone a step further, and it's going to be taking some investment measures in the Palestinian territories as well.
What do you think about the timing of this agreement? For example, what was Benjamin Netanyahu hoping to get from this announcement today?
Well, Israel at the moment feels that the way things are going in the region, it is perhaps slightly isolated in some respects. So, of course, a reconciliation with Turkey would provide that strategic leverage to Israel. That's number one. Number two, from a trade point of view, Israel is actually seeking to tap into the resources in the Mediterranean Sea. And of course, this rapprochement with Turkey is going to help with that as well. Earlier, Israeli Prime Minister did not mince any words. He said that this rapprochement with Turkey is going to immensely help Israel with its business goals as well. So for Israel, there are strategic objectives it seeks to achieve, which of course includes political goals as well as economic goals.
It's interesting that this deal actually came about, was announced in Italy. You had Senator John Kerry from the US being involved in the negotiations. What is the global perspective on this deal? How are people on the outside looking at this deal?
Well, Malin, this has been quite a tedious diplomatic exercise, even though some people have been saying that there are only 3 conditions that have to be met, and Israel has already some time ago apologized back in 2013. It had also agreed to compensate, but there was a lot more to it than what was perhaps being perceived. For example, even domestically, there had been some pressure. There were people who were demanding that the Israeli soldiers who were engaged in that assault be tried in some sort of international court or in Turkish courts. That was one thing. And there were also some other demands that were being put forward. But in the end, many of the people who were placing these demands, they did agree that in the long run, this pragmatism that Turkey adopted towards Israel has perhaps achieved more for the Palestinians who are stranded in those territories than what those Palestinians have managed to get from some of their neighbors and, a lot of rhetoric that has been coming from some of the Muslim countries. So there has been this war of perceptions as well that has played a lot of role. But in the end, we know that Turkish President Recep Tayyip Erdogan also spoke to Palestinian authorities, and they were quite happy with this rapprochement between Turkey and Israel, because the Palestinians also seem to believe that they stand to benefit as a result of these Turkish moves.
Okay, Hasan, many thanks for talking us through that. Hasan Abdullah there live for us in Ankara.